So then the first one would be, remind me, Kohler Sports Corps donated some of our props that you will know when you see them. Joel Kapishke donated one of our set pieces, and we also do a slight homage to him because he played Falstaff in the last show. Kurt Merriman specially made all of our beautiful weapons. They're like handcrafted out of wood, and they're beautiful, so thank you, Kurt. Is he here yet? Nope. Whatever. Thanks, Matt Kemble. Matt Kemble runs this space down here, the Underground Collaborative, and he's really cool. If you want a rehearsal space or a dance studio or you want to run a theater, talk to Matt, because he's also a really nice guy. You should just talk to him anyway. The lights above your heads are going to stay on so that we can see you like you can see us. Almost. It's a little more down there. Yeah, oh, the aisle is used. This area right here is used a whole lot. So if you want to go grab yourself a beer during the middle of Act 1, go ahead and do it. You need to go to the bathroom because you've drank so much beer. Go ahead and do it. But just be aware that there's going to be well-armed actors running towards that door and back a lot. Cell phones, go ahead and keep your cell phone on. See what happens.
I will take it from you.
I am not responsible for what my well-armed actors do. You know what? It's a basement. You probably don't have reception down here anyway, so don't even worry about it. This is the question that I get most often when I'm like, I do Barton Bourbon, it's drunk Shakespeare. They go, okay, but like real alcohol? Yes, of course real alcohol. It's right here, and tonight we're going to get Leanne drunk. Woo! Leanne plays poems, and Leanne plays our chorus. So that is a heavy Act 1. So we're gonna
She said that. I said Exeter.
So in their program. So
Let's
sure
have
and we like to count in Barton Bourbon, so ready?
Hold on!
A kingdom for a stage, princes to act, and monarchs to behold the swelling scene. Then should the warlike Harry, like himself, assume the port of Mars, and at his heels, leashed in like hounds, should famine, sword, and fire crouch for employment. But pardon, gentles all, the flat, unraised spirits that have dared on this unworthy scaffold to bring forth so great an object. Can this basement hold the vasty fields of France? Yeah! Or may we cram within this wooden O the very casks that did affright the air at Agincourt? Pardon, that a crooked figure may attest in little place a million, and let us, ciphers to this great account on your imaginary forces, work. Suppose within the girdle of these walls are now confined two mighty monarchies, whose high, upreared, and abutting fronts the perilous, narrow ocean parts asunder. Think, when we talk of horses, that you see them printing their proud hooves in the receiving earth, for 'tis your thoughts that now must deck our kings, carry them here and there, jumping o'er times, turning the accomplishment of many years into an hourglass. For the which supply, admit me, chorus, who prologue like your humble patience pray, gently to hear, kindly to judge our play.
Before God, I am exceeding weary.
If So high blood.
It does me. Though it discolors the complexion of my greatness to acknowledge it. Doth it not show vilely in me to desire small beer?
Why a prince should not be so loosely studied as to remember so weak a composition.
Be like then my appetite was not princely got, for by my troth, I do not remember the poor creature's small beer. But, indeed, these humble considerations make me out of love with my greatness. What a disgrace is it to me to remember thy name, or to know thy face tomorrow.
How ill it... so hard that you should talk so idly. Tell me, how many young princes would do so, their fathers being so sick as yours at this time is?
Shall I tell thee one thing, Points?
Yes, faith, and let it be an excellent good thing.
It shall serve among wits of no higher breeding than thine.
Go to, I stand the push of the one thing that you will tell.
Mary, and tell thee it is not meet that I should be sad now my father is sick. Albeit I could tell to thee, as to what it pleases me, for fault of a better, to call my friend, I could be sad, and sad indeed, too.
Very hardly upon such a subject.
Oh, by this hand thou thinkst me as far in the devil's book as thou and Falstaff for obduracy and persistency. Let the end try the man. But I tell thee, my heart bleeds inwardly now my father is so sick. And keeping such vile company as thou art hath in reason taken from me all ostentation of sorrow.
The reason?
Wouldst thou think of me if I should
Oh, I would think thee a most princely hypocrite.
It would be every man's thought. And thou art a blessed fellow to think as every man thinks. Never a man's thought in the world keeps the roadway better than thine. Every man would think me an hypocrite indeed. And what excites your most worshipful thought to think so?
Why, because you have been so lewd and so much engrafted to Falstaff.
Oh, and to thee.
Oh, by the mass, here comes Bardolph.
And the boy that I gave Falstaff. I had him from me Christian, and look if the fat villain have not transformed him eight.
God save your grace.
And yours, most noble Bardolph.
Oh, come, you virtuous ass. Must you be blushing? Well, wherefore blush you now? What a maidenly man-at-arms are you become? Is to such a matter to get a pot maidenhead?
Calls me in now, my lord, through a red lattice, and I could discern no part of his face from the window. At last, I spied his eyes, and he thought he had made 2 holes in the alewife petticoat, and so peeked through.
Oh! Has not the boy profited?
Away, you horse son, right away!
Away, you rascally outdeals, dream away!
We instruct us, boy. What dream, boy?
Sorry, my lord, albeit drunk she was delivered of a firebrand, therefore I call him her dream.
Oh, a crown's worth of good interpretation. There 'tis, boy.
Oh, that this blossom could be kept from cankers. Well, there is 6 pence to preserve thee.
If you do not make him hang among you, the gallows shall be raw.
And how doth thy master, Bardolph?
Well, my lord, we heard your grace was coming to town. There's a letter for you.
Oh, delivered with good respect. I I do allow this Wen to be as familiar with me as my dog, and he holds his place. For look you how he writes.
Sir John Falstaff, Knight, to the son of the king, nearest his father, Harry, Prince of Wales, greeting.
Why, this is a certificate.
Peace. I will imitate the honorable Romans in brevity.
Oh, he sure means brevity in breath. Short-winded. I commend me to thee. I commend thee, and I leave thee. Be not too familiar with poems. For he misuses thy favor so much that he swears thou art to marry his sister Nell. Hence, at idle times as thou mayst, and so farewell. Thine, thy yea and no, which is as much to say as thou usest him. Jack Falstaff with my familiars, John with my brothers and sisters, and Sir John with all Europe, my lord. I'll steep this letter in sack and make him eat it.
That's to make him eat 20 of his words. But do you use me thus, Ned? Must I marry your sister?
God send the wench no worse fortune, but I never said so.
Well, thus we play the fools with the time, and the spirits of the wise sit in the clouds and mock us. Is your master here in London?
Yea, my lord.
Where sups he?
At the old place, my lord, in East Cheap.
Sirrah, you boy, and Bardolph. No word to your master that I am yet come to town. There's for your silence.
I have no tongue, sir.
And for mine, sir, I will govern it.
Very well. Go! I know you all, and will a while uphold the unyoked humor of your idleness. Yet herein will I imitate the sun, who doth permit the base, contagious clouds to smother up his beauty from the world, that when he please again to be himself, being wanted, he may be more wondered at, by breaking through the foul and ugly mists of vapors that did seem to strangle him. I'll so offend to make offense a skill, redeeming time when men think least, I will.
For God's sake, let us sit upon the ground and tell sad stories of the death of kings. How some have been deposed, some slain in war, some haunted by the ghosts they have deposed, some poisoned by their wives, some sleeping killed, all murdered. For within the hollow crown that rounds the mortal temples of a king keeps death his court, and there the antic sits, scoffing his state, and grinning at his pomp, allowing him a breath, a little scene to monarchize, be feared and kill with looks, infusing him with self and vain conceit, as if this flesh which walls about our life were brass, impregnable. And humored thus, comes at last, and with a little pin bores through his castle wall. And farewell, king.
The care on thee depending hath fed upon the body of my father. Therefore thou best of gold art worse than gold. Other, less fine in carat, is more precious, preserving life in medicine potable. But thou, most fine, most honored, most renowned, hast et thy bearer up. My gracious Lord, my father, you won it, wore it, kept it, gave it me. And plain and right must my possession be, which I, with more than with a common pain, against all the world, will rightfully maintain. Princes all, believe me, I beseech you. My father is gone wild into his grave, for in his tomb lie my affections. And with his spirit, sadly I survive to mock the expectation of the world, to frustrate prophecies, and to raise out rotten opinion who hath writ me down after my seeming. The tide of blood in me hath proudly flowed in vanity, till now. Now doth it turn and ebb back to the sea, where it shall mingle with the state of floods, and flow henceforth in formal majesty.
Shall we call in the ambassador, my liege?
Not yet, my cousin. We would be resolved before we hear him of some things of weight that task our thoughts concerning us and friends.
God and his angels guard your sacred throne and make you long becoming.
Sure, we thank you. My learned lords, we pray you to proceed, for we will hear, note, and believe in heart that what you speak is in your conscience, washed as pure as sin with baptism.
Then hear me, gracious sovereign, and you peers who owe yourselves, your lives, and services to this imperial throne. There is no bar to make against your highness's claim to practice.
May I, with right and conscience, make this claim.
The sin upon my head, dread soul. Stand for your own, unwind your bloody flag, look back into your mighty ancestors.
Awake remembrance of these valiant dead, and with your puissant arm renew their fates. You are their heir. You sit upon their throne. The blood and courage that renowned them runs in your veins, and my thrice puissant liege is in the very Maymorn of his youth, ripe for exploits and mighty enterprises.
Your brother kings and monarchs of the earth do all expect that you will rouse yourself as did the former lions of your blood.
They know your grace hath cause, and means, and might. So hath your highness. Never king of England had richer nobles, and more loyal subjects, whose hearts have left their bodies here in England, in my pavilion, in the fields of France.
Let their bodies follow, dear liege, with bloods and sword and fire to win your right. But in aid whereof we of the spirituality will raise your highness such a mighty sum as never the clergy did at one time bring into any of your ancestors.
Call in the messengers sent from the Dauphin. Now are we well resolved, and by God's help and yours, the noble sinews of our power, France being ours, will bend it to our awe, break it all to pieces. Now are we well prepared to know the pleasure of our fair cousin Dauphin, for we hear your greeting is from him, not from the king.
May it please your majesty to give us leave freely to render what we have in charge.
We are no tyrant, but a Christian king. Therefore, with frank and with uncurbed plainness, tell us the Dauphin's mind.
Thus then, in few, Your Highness lately sending into France did claim some certain dukedoms in the right of your great predecessor, King Edward III. In answer of which claim the prince, our master, says that you savor too much of your youth, and bids you be advised, there's naught in France that can be with a nimble galliard one. You cannot revel into dukedoms there. He therefore sends you meter for your spirit, this ton of treasure. And in lieu of this, desires you that the dukedoms that you claim hear no more of you. This, the Dauphin speaks.
What treasure, uncle?
Tennis balls.
We are glad the Dauphin is so pleasant with us. His present and your pains we thank you for. When we have matched our rackets to these balls, we will in France, by God's grace, play a set shall strike his father's crown into the hazard. Tell him he hath made a match with such a wrangler that all the courts of France will be disturbed with chases. And we understand him well, how he comes o'er us with our wilder days, not measuring what use we made of them. We never valued this poor seat of England, and therefore living hence to give ourselves to barbarous license, as 'tis ever common that men are merriest when they are from home. But tell the Dauphin I will keep my state, be like a king, and show my sail of greatness when I do rouse me in my throne of France. For that have I laid by my majesty and plodded like a man for working days, but I will rise there with so full of glory that I will dazzle all the eyes of France, yea, strike the Dauphin blind to look on us. And tell the pleasant prince this smock of his hath turned his balls to gunstones, and his soul shall stand sword charged for the wasteful vengeance that shall fly with them. For many 1,000 widows shall this his mock out of their dear husbands, mock mothers from their sons, mock castles down, and some are yet ungotten and unborn that shall have cause to curse the Dauphin's scorn. But this lies all within the will of God, to whom I do appeal, and in whose name tell you the Dauphin I am coming on to venge me as I may, and to put forth my rightful hand in a well-hallowed cause. So, get you hence in peace, and tell the Dauphin his jest will savor but of shallow wit, when thousands weep more than did laugh at it. Convey them with safe conduct, fare you well.
This was a merry message.
We hope to make the sender blush at it. Therefore, my lords, omit no happy hour that may give furtherance to our expedition. For we have now no thought in us but France.
Now, all the youth of England are on fire, and silken dalliance in the wardrobe lies. Now, drive the armorers, and honor's thought reigns solely in the breast of every man, for now sits expectation in the air. The French, advised by good intelligence of this most dreadful preparation, shake in their fear, and with pale policy seek to divert the English purposes. Oh, England! Model to thy inward greatness, like little body with a mighty heart. What mightst thou do that honor would be due for all thy children kind and natural?
Well met, Corporal Points.
Oh! Good morrow, Lieutenant Bartle.
What, are you and Ensign Pistol friends yet?
For my part, I care not. I say little, but when time shall serve, there shall be smiles.
I shall bestow a breakfast to make you friends. And the three of us will be all sworn brothers to France. Let it be so, good Corporal. Here comes Ensign Pistol. Good Corporal Points. Nation.
How now, mine host, Pistol?
Base tyke! Call'st thou me host? Now by this hand, I swear I scorn the term.
Ensign Pistol. Corporal Points. Offer nothing here.
Pish.
Pish for thee, Iceland dog! Thou prick-eared cur of Iceland!
Hear me! Hear me when I say. He that strikes the first stroke, I'll run him up to the hilts, as I am a soldier.
An oath of mickle might and fury shall abate. Give me thy hand. Thy forefoot to me give, thy spirits are most tall.
I shall cut thy throat one time or other in fair terms.
Shall I link you two friends? We are to France together. Why the devil should we keep knives at one another's throats?
You'll pay me the 8 shillings that I wanted you at betting.
Base is the slave that
And
pays.
now I will have.
As manhood shall compound, push on!
By this sword! He that makes the first thrust, I'll kill him. By this sword I will. Corporal Points and thou will be friends. Be friends. And thou will not? Then be enemies with me as well. Prithee, put up.
A noble shalt thou have, and present pay, and liquor likewise will I give to thee. And friendship shall combine, and brotherhood. I'll live by Ned, and Ned shall live by me. Is not this just? For I will sutler be unto the camp, and profits will accrue. Give me thy hand.
I shall have my noble.
In cash, most justly paid.
Well, then there's the humor of it.
Ah!
Shall we shod? The king will be gone from Southampton.
Come, let's away, yoke fellows in arms. Let us to France like horse leeches. To suck, the very blood to suck.
Thus comes the English with full power upon us. More than carefully in us concerns to answer royally in our defenses. The Dukes of Berry and of Brittany, of Bramble and of Orleans shall make forth. You, Prince Dauphin, with all swift dispatch to line, and you prepare our tongues with war with men of courage and with means to defend it. For England, his approaches makes us fierce as waters the sucking of a mouth. It fits us then to be as prominent as fear may teach us out of the late examples left by the fatal and neglected English upon our fields.
My most redoubted father, it is most meet that we arm us against the foe. And therefore I say, let's all go forth to view the sick and feeble parts of France, and let us do it with no show of fear. No, with no more than if we heard that England were busied with a Whitsun Morris dance, huh? For good my liege, she is so idly kinged, her sceptre so fantastically borne by a vain, a giddy, shallow, humorous youth that fear attends her not.
Oh, peace, Christopher! You are too much mistaken in this king. Question your grace the late ambassadors. What great state he heard their embassy? How well supplied with noble counselors, how modest in exception, and withal how terrible in constant resolution. And you shall find his vanities forspent.
Well, 'tis not so, my lord high constable, but though we think it so, it is no matter in cases of defense to invest away the enemy more mighty than he seems.
Think we, King Harry strong, and look, the prince is strongly armed to meet him.
Ambassadors from Harry, King of England, do crave admittance to your majesty.
We'll give the present audience go and bring them. See, this chase is hotly followed, friends.
Turn head and stop pursuit! For coward dogs most spend their mouths when what they seem to threaten runs far before them. Good, my sovereign, take up the English short, and let them know of what a monarchy you are the head. Self-love, my liege, is not so vile a sin as self-neglecting.
From our brother of England.
From him, and thus he greets your majesty. He wills you in the name of God Almighty that you divest yourself and lay apart the borrowed glories that by gift of heaven, by law of nature and of nations longs to him and to his heirs, namely the crown and all other wide-stretched honors that pertain by custom and the ordinance of times unto the crown of France. That you may know 'tis no sinister nor no awkward claim picked from the wormholes of long-vanished days, nor from the dust of old oblivion raked. He sends you this most memorable line, in every branch truly demonstrative, willing you overlook this pedigree, and when you find him evenly derived from his most famed of famous ancestors, Edward III, he bids you then resign your crown and kingdom, indirectly held from him, the native and true challenger.
Or else, what follows?
Bloody constraint. For if you hide the crown even in your hearts, there will he rake for it. Therefore in fierce tempest is he coming, in thunder and in earthquake, like a Jove that if requiring fail, he will compel, and bids you in the bowels of the Lord deliver up the crown, and to take mercy on the poor souls for whom this hungry war opens his vasty jaws. And on your head turning the widow's tears, the orphan's cries, the dead men's blood, the privy maiden's groans for husbands, fathers, and betrothed lovers that shall be swallowed in this controversy. This is his claim, his threatening, and my message. Unless the Dauphin be in presence here, to whom expressly I bring greeting to.
For us, we will consider of this further. Tomorrow shall you bear our full intent back to our brother of England.
For the Dauphin! I stand here for him. What to him from England?
Scorn and defiance, slight regard, contempt. and anything that may not misbecome the mighty sender doth he prize you at. Thus says my king, and if your father's highness do not, in grant all demands at large, sweeten the bitter mock you sent his majesty, he'll call you to so hot an answer of it that caves and gloomy voltages of France shall chide your trespass, and return your mock in second accent of his ordinance.
Say if my father render fair return, 'tis against my will, for I desire nothing but odds with England. To that end is matching to his youth and vanity. I did present him with the Paris balls.
He'll make your Paris Louvre shake for it.
Tomorrow shall you know our mind at full.
Dispatch us with all speed, lest that our king come here himself to question our delay, for he is footed in this land already.
You shall be soon dispatched with fair conditions. A night is but a small breath and little pause to answer matters of this consequence.
Woohoo! Thus, with a magic wing our swift scene flies in motion of no less celerity than that of thought. Suppose that you have seen the well-appointed king at Dover Pier embark his royalty and his brave fleet with silken streamers the young Phoebus spanning. Play with your fancies, and in them behold upon the hempen tackle ship boys climbing. Hear the shrill whistle which doth order give to sounds confused. Behold the threading sails, borne with the invisible and creeping wind, draw the huge bottoms through the furrowed sea, breasting the lofty surge. Follow, follow, work your thoughts, and in them see a siege. Behold the ordnance on their carriages, with fatal mouths gaping on girded Harfleur. Suppose the ambassador from the French comes back, tells Harry that the king doth offer him Catherine his daughter, and with her to dowry some petty and unprofitable dukedoms. The offer likes not, and the nimble gunner with linstock now the devilish cannon touches, and down goes all before them. Find and eke out our performance with your mind.
Brother John Bates!
Once more into the breach, dear friends! Once Now close the wall up with our English dead! In peace, there's nothing so becomes a man as modest stillness and humility. But when the blast of war blows in our ears, then imitate the action of the tiger. Stiffen the sinews, conjure up the blood, disguise fair nature with hard-favored rage. Now, set the teeth and stretch the nostril wide. Hold hard the breath and bend up every spirit to his full height. On! On, you noble English! Dishonor not your mothers! Now attest that those whom you call fathers did beget you. Be copy now to men of grosser blood and teach them how to war. And you, good yeoman, whose limbs were made in England, show us here the mettle of your pasture. Let us swear that you are worth your breeding, which I doubt not. For there is none of you so mean and base that hath not noble luster in your eyes. I see you stand like greyhounds in the slips, straining upon the start. The game's afoot. Follow your spirit, and upon this charge cry, God for Harry, England, and St. George!
God for Harry, England, and St. George! On, to the breach, to the breach!
Hey! I pray thee, Corporal, stay. Oh, the knocks are too hot, and for mine own part, I have not a case of lives. The humor is too hot, that's the very plain song of it.
Oh, the plain song is most just, for humors do abound. Knocks go and come, God's vassals drop and die. And sword and shield and bloody field doth win immortal fame.
Hey, Randy, Randy, my fame for a pot of ale.
But thither would I
As duly, but not as truly, as bird doth sing on bough.
Hey, Roger, Randy, Dandy-o, he of all Be merciful, great Duke, to men of mold! Abate thy rage! Abate thy manly rage! Oh, abate thy rage, great Duke! Ow! Abate thy rage! Ow! Abate thy rage! Chuck you fled this deed!
As young as I am, I've observed these three swashers. I avoided them all three, but all they three, though they would serve me, could not be man to me. For indeed, three such antics do not amount to a man. For Bardolph, he is white-livered and red-faced, by means whereof a face is out, but fights not. For Pistol, he hath a killing tongue and a quiet sword, by means whereof breaks words, but keeps whole weapons. For Poins, he has heard that men of a few words are the best men, and therefore scorns to say his prayers, lest he should be thought a coward. But his few bad deeds are matched with his few good words, for he never broke any man's head but his own, and that was against a post when he was drunk. They would steal anything and call it purchase. Bardolph stole a loot case, bore it 12 leagues, and sold it for 3 halfpence. Poins and Bardolph were sworn brothers in filching, and in Calais they stole a fire shovel. I knew by that piece of service the men would carry coals. They would have me as familiar with men's pockets as their gloves or their handkerchiefs, which makes much against my manhood if I should take from another man's pocket to put into my own for plain pocketing up wrongs. I must leave them and seek some better service. Their villainy goes against my weak stomach, and therefore I must cast it up.
How yet resolves the governor of the town. This is the latest quarrel we will admit. Therefore, to our best mercy, give yourselves. Or, like to men proud of destruction, defy us to our worst. For, as I am a soldier, a name that in my thoughts becomes me best, if I begin the battery once again, I will not leave the half-achieved Harfleur till in her ashes she lie buried. What is it then to me? If impious war, arrayed in flames, like to the prince of fiends, do with his smirched complexion all fell feats, linked to waste and desolation. What is to me when you yourselves are cause? What reign can hold licentious wickedness when down the hill
he holds his fierce career. We may as bootless spend our vain command upon the enraged soldiers in their spoil as send precepts to the Leviathan to come ashore. Therefore, you men of Harfleur, take pity of your town and of your people, whilst yet my soldiers are in my command. If not, why in a moment look to see the blind and bloody soldier with foul hand defile the locks of your shrill shrieking daughters. Your fathers taken by the silver beards and their most reverend heads dashed to the walls. Your naked infants spitted upon pikes. What say you? Will you yield and this avoid? Or guilty in defense be thus destroyed?
Our expectations hath this day an end. The Dauphin, whom of succors we entreated, returns us that his powers are not yet ready to raise so great a siege. Therefore, great King, we yield our town and lives to thy soft mercy. Enter our gates, and dispose of us and ours, as we are no longer defensible.
Open your gates. Come, Uncle Exeter. Go you and enter Harfleur. There remain and fortify it strongly against the French. Use mercy to them for us all, dear uncles. The winter coming on and sickness growing upon our soldiers, we will retire to Calais. Tonight in Harfleur, will we be your guest? Tomorrow, for the march, are we addressed.
Bien pas le langage.
Un peu, madame.
Je te prie, monsonnier, il faut que je prenne la parole. Comment appelez-vous le main en anglais?
Le main, elle s'appelle the hand.
The hand. Et les doigts?
Les doigts, oh, ma foi, j'oublie les doigts. Mais je me souviendrai. Le doigt, je pense, ils sont appelés des fingres. Oui, des fingres.
Le main, the hand. Les doigts? Je pense que je suis un bon écolier. J'ai gagné 2 mots d'anglais justement. Comment appelez-vous les ongles?
Les ongles, nous les appelons des nails, madame.
Des nails. Écoutez, dis-moi si je parle bien. The hand, the finger et the nails.
C'est gentil, madame. Il est fort bon anglais.
Dis-moi l'anglais pour le bras.
The arm, madame.
Et le coude?
D'elbow.
D'elbow. Je me mets la répétition de tout le mot que tu m'avais appris dès à présent.
Ah, il est trop difficile, madame, quand je pense.
Excusez-moi, Alice, écoutez. The hand, the finger, the nails, the arm, the elbow.
D'elbow, madame.
Oh, je m'en oubliais. D'elbow. Oh.
Oh.
Comment appelez-vous le col?
De Nick, madame.
De Nick. Et le menton?
De Tcha.
Le col de Nick, le menton de Tcha.
Oui, c'est votre honneur. En vérité, vous prononcez le mot assez droit que les natifs d'Angleterre.
Je ne doute pas de prendre par la grâce de Dieu et un peu de temps.
N'avez-vous déjà oublié ce que c'est vous enseigné?
Non, et je réciterai à mon propre nom. The hand, the finger, the nails.
The nails, madame.
Des nails, the arm, des elbows.
C'est votre honneur, tel beau.
Un t-shirt elbow. Le hic, the chair. Comment appelez-vous? Le pied et la robe.
À la fac, le compte.
La robe et le compte. Oh, Seigneur Dieu! Ils sont des mots mauvais, gros, corrompus, impudiques et non les donnés, tu sais! Je ne voudrais pas prononcer ces mots devant les seigneurs de France pour tout le monde! Oh! Le book? Le compte? Dis-moi, je réciterai au nom de toi ma leçon ensemble! The hand, the bangle, the nails, the arm, the elbow, the neck, the chin, the book, the comb! C'est cool pas. Parle-nous d'une. Oh mon Dieu. Oh.
To certain ye have passed the river Somme.
And if it be not fought with all, my lord, let us not live in France. Let us quit all and give our vineyards to a barbarous people.
Oh,
Normans, but bastard Normans. Norman bastards. If they march along unfollowed, I will sell my dukedom, my slobbery and dirty farm in the misshapen Isle of Britain.
Dieu de bataille, where have they this metal? Is not their clement raw? Is not their clement foggy, raw, and dull, as whom is in despite the sun looks pale? And shall our quick blood, spirited with wine, seem frosty? Oh, for honor of our land, let us not hang like roping icicles upon our house's thatch, while more frosty people drop sweat drops of gallant youth in our rich fields.
by faith and honor! Oh, our madams mock at us and plainly say our metal is bred out, and they will give their bodies to the lust of English youth, to New Start France with bastard warriors.
They bid us to the English dancing schools and teach us La Volta's high and swift Carantos, saying our graces only in our heels, that we are most lofty runaways.
Where is Montjoy the herald? Speed him hence. Let him greet England with our sharp defiance. Up, princess! And with spirit of honor, edge more sharper than your swords. Hie to the field! High dukes, great princes, barons, lords, and kings, for your great seats, now quit you of great shames. Bar Harry England that sweeps through our land with pennons painted in the blood of Hustler. Go down upon him, you have power enough, and in a captive chariot, into Rouen, bring him our prisoner.
This becomes the great. Sorry am I, his numbers are so few, and his soldiers sick and famished in their march. For I am sure when he shall see our army, he'll drop his heart into the sink of fear, and for achievement offer us his ransom!
Therefore, Lord Constable, haste on Montjoy! Let him say to England that we send to know what willing ransom he will give. Prince Dauphin, you shall stay with us in Rouen.
Not so, I do beseech your majesty.
Be patient, for you shall remain with us. Now forth, Lord Constable and Princes all, and quickly bring us word of England's fall.
Captain, I thee beseech you to do me favors. The Duke of Exeter doth love thee well.
I praise God, and I have merited some love in his hands.
Of Bordolph, a soldier firm and sound of heart, and of buxom valor hath, by cruel fate and giddy fortune's furious fickle wheel, fortune is Bardolph's foe, and frowns on him, for he hath stolen a pax, and hanged must he be, a damned death. Let gallows gape for dog, let man go free, and let not hemp his windpipe suffocate. But Exeter hath given the doom of death for packs of little price, and therefore go speak, and the Duke will hear thy voice, and let not Bardolph's vital thread be cut with edge of penny cord in vile reproach. Speak, Captain, for his life, and I will thee requite.
Ensign Pistol, I do partly understand your meaning.
Why then rejoice therefore?
Certainly, Ensign, it is not a thing to rejoice at. For if, look you, he were my brother, I would desire the Duke to use his good pleasure and put him to execution, for discipline ought to be used.
Die and be damned, and fiddle for thy friendship.
It is well.
The fig of Spain!
Very good. Why, 'tis a gull, a fool, a rogue that now and then goes to the wars to grace himself on his return into London under the form of a soldier. Such fellows are perfect in the great commanders' names. They will learn you by rote where services were done at such and such a sconce, such a breach, and such a convoy, who came off bravely, who shot, who disgraced what terms the enemy stood upon. And this, they con perfectly in the phrase of war, which they trick out with new turned oaths. And what a beard of the general's cut and a horrid suit of the camp will do among foaming bottles and ale-washed wits is wonderful to be thought on. God save your majesty.
Oh, Arthur! Camest thou from the bridge?
Aye, so please your majesty. The Duke of Exeter has very gallantly maintained the bridge.
What men have you lost, Flora?
The perdition of the adversary hath been very great. Reasonable, great. Marry, for my part, I think the Duke hath lost never a man, but for one who is like to be executed for robbing a church. One Bardolph, if your majesty know the man?
We would have all such offenders so cut off. And we give express charge that in our marches through the country there be nothing compelled from the villages, nothing taken but paid for, none of the French upbraided or abused in disdainful language. For when levity and cruelty play for a kingdom, the gentler gamester is the soonest winner.
You know me by my habit.
Well, then I know thee. What shall I know of thee?
My master's mind.
Unfold it.
Thus says my king, say thou to Harry of England, though we seemed dead, we did but sleep. Advantage is a better soldier than rashness. Tell him we could have rebuked him at Harfleur, but that we thought it not good to bruise an injury until it were full ripe. Now we speak upon our cue, and our voice is imperial. England shall repent his folly, see his weakness, and admire our sufferance. Bid him therefore consider of his ransom, which must proportion the losses we have borne, the subjects we have lost, the disgrace we have digested, which in weight to re-answer his pettiness would bow under. So far my king and master, so much my office.
What is thy name? I know thy quality.
Montjoy.
Thou dost thy office fairly. Turn thee back and tell thy king I do not seek him now, but could be willing to march on to Calais without impeachment. For to say the sooth, though 'tis no wisdom to confess so much unto an enemy of craft and vantage, my people are with sickness much enfeebled, my numbers lessened, and those few I have almost no better than so many French, who, when they were in health, I tell thee, Harold, I thought upon one pair of English legs did march 3 Frenchmen. Yet God forgive me that I do brag thus. This, your heir of France, hath blown that vice in me. Must repent. Go therefore, tell thy master, here I am. My ransom is this frail and worthless trunk. My army, but a weak and sickly guard. Yet God before, tell him we will come on, though France himself and such another neighbor stand in our way. There still I labor, Moncho. Go bid thy master well advise himself. We would not seek a battle as we are, nor as we are we say, we will not shun it. So tell your master.
I shall deliver so. Thanks to your highness.
I hope they will not come upon us now.
We are in God's hand, brother, not in theirs. March to the bridge. It now draws toward night. Beyond the river we'll encamp ourselves, and on tomorrow, bid them march away.
Tut! I have the best armor in the world! What a day!
You have an excellent arm. Let my horse have his due.
It is the best horse of Europe.
Will it never be morning?
My Lord of Orleans and my Lord High Constable, you talk of horse and armor?
You are as well supplied of both as any prince in the world.
What a long night is this? I would not change my horse for any that treads but on 4 pasterns. He bounds from the earth as if his entrails were hairs. Le cheval volant, the Pegasus, quella nariz du faux. When I bestride him, I soar. I am a hawk. He trots the air. The earth sings when he touches it. The basest horn of his hoof is more musical than the pipe of Hermes.
He is of the color of the nutmeg.
And of the heat of the ginger. It is a beast for Perseus. He is pure air and fire, and the base elements of earth and water never appear in him, but in the patient stillness, while his rider mounts him. It is indeed a horse, and all other jades you may call beasts.
Indeed. It is the most absolute and excellent horse!
It is the Prince of Palfreys. His name is like the pigeon of a monarch, and his countenance enforces.
No more, cousin.
Hey, the man hath no wit, yet cannot from the rising of the lark to the lodging of the lamb very deserved praise on my palfrey. 'Tis his theme, as fluent as the sea, turn the sands into eloquent tongues, and my horse is argument for them all. 'Tis a subject for a sovereign to reason on, and for a sovereign to ride on. I once writ a sonnet in his praise, and began thus. Wonder of nature.
I've heard a sonnet begin so, to one's mistress.
Then, did they imitate that which I composed to my courser? For my horse is my mistress.
Your mistress bears well.
Me well, oh, which is the prescript praise and perfection for a good and particular mistress, huh?
Nay.
So perhaps did yours.
Mine was not bridled.
I had rather have my horse to my mistress.
Let us leave him, my mistress, a jade.
I tell thee, constable, my mistress wears his own hairs.
I could make a true a boast as that if I had a sow to my mistress.
My Lord Constable, the armor I saw in your tent tonight, are those stars or suns upon it?
Stars, my lord!
Oh, some of them will fall tomorrow, I hope.
Oh, and yet my sky shall not want!
Oh, that may be, for you bear many superfluously, and to our more honor somewhere away.
Even as your horse bears your praises, who would trot as well were some of those brags dismounted?
Would I were able to load him with his dessert! Will it never be day? Oh, I will trot tomorrow a mile, and my way will be paved in English faces.
I would it were morning. Or I would fain be about the ears of the English.
Who will go to hazard to feed your 20 prisoners?
You must first go yourself to hazard ere you have them.
'Tis midnight. I'll go arm myself.
The Dauphin longs for morning.
He longs to eat the English.
I think he'll eat all he kills.
By the white hand of my lady, he is a gallant prince.
Swear by her foot that she may trout kill.
He is simply the most active gentleman of France.
Doing his activity, and he will still be doing!
He never did harm that I heard of.
Nor will do none tomorrow. He'll keep that good name still.
I know him to be valiant.
'Tis a hooded valor, but when it appears, it will bait.
My Lord High Constable, the English lie within 1,500 paces of your tents.
Who hath measured the ground?
The Lord Runpray.
A most valiant and expert gentleman. Oh, I would it were morning! Alas, poor Harry of England. He longs not for the dawning as we do.
What a wretched and peevish fellow is this King of England, to mope about with his fat-brained followers so far out of his knowledge.
If the English had any apprehension, they would run away.
Now's the time to arm. Come, shall we about it?
It is now 2 o'clock. Let me see. By 10, we shall each have 100 Englishmen.
Yeah, he did, but I didn't catch his How are the question mark? No, I didn't. Alex first time around. You know what's like 22 is like. That was interesting. It's like the first time you are so fun. I most of the time I'm watching and then I enjoy watching your reaction. Holy crap. You're doing way more performance. Like, I'd like to read that. What if it's, I think the cool thing is actually hated English, or that the English is speaking French. Is there like a, is there a good amount of space in the What? So, they still have to Is it like a finished space where you have your own bathroom, kitchen? Literally, it doesn't really know. Yeah, we were like, what?
Done deal.
Yeah, we're in. You also, like a year later, I never March 1st. You stick with your opinions all actually, I have a roommate who care about it. Okay, that's I just thought drinking soda because Also, sometimes we smell like a salt. It's close to
Now, entertain conjecture of a time when creeping murmur and the pouring dark fills the wide vessel of the universe. From camp to camp through the foul gloom of night, the hum of either army's stilly sounds that the fixed sentinels almost receive the secret whispers of each other's watch. Fire answers fire, and through their paly flames, each battle sees the other's umbered face. The country cocks do crow, the clocks do toll, and the third hour of drowsy morning named. The poor, condemned English, like sacrifices by their watchful fires, sit patiently and inly ruminate the morning's danger. And their gestures sad, investing lank lean cheeks and war-worn coats, presented them unto the moon. So many horrid ghosts. Oh, now who will behold the royal captain of this ruined band, walking from watch to watch, from tent to tent? Let him cry praise and glory on his head, for forth he goes and visits all his host. Bids them good morrow in a modest smile, and calls them brothers, friends. Not for me, huh? A largesse, universal like the sun, his liberal eye doth give to everyone, thawing cold fear, that mean and gentle all behold as may unworthiness define. A little touch of Harry. In the night.
yonder the beginning of the day, but I fear we shall never see the end of it.
Who goes there?
Our friend!
You know what captain served you?
Oh, Sir Thomas Irvingham.
Good old commander, a most kind gentleman. I pray you, what thinks he of our state?
Even as men wrecked upon a sand that looked to be washed off the next tide.
We have not told his thoughts to the king.
No. Nor it is not meet he should. For though I